class president at WHS. On behalf of the WISD Board of Trustees, our administration, our staff, our students welcome you into our school for this celebration. Thank you to Mr. Weinbrenner and the band for the music as we came in. Let's give them a round of applause. We'll hear more from the band in a little while. In the U.S., we celebrate Veterans Day every November 11th. Originally called Armistice Day, the date November 11th commemorates the formal end of World War I, which ended at the 11th hour on the 11th day on the 11th month in 1918. It's our opportunity to honor and recognize all of our country's military veterans. Please join me in the first of many rounds of applause for the veterans who have joined us today. Now, I'd like to introduce our first distinguished guest. He will be introducing our other honored guests that join us today. Please welcome Wimberley ISD Superintendent, Dr. Greg Bonewald.
Good morning, Wimberley High School. I want to ask you to please help me in giving a warm welcome to a number of distinguished guests that we have joining us today. We have several that I'm going to recognize, so I'll ask you to hold one big Texan applause at the end of this list. To start, I'd like to recognize and I'm going to ask these folks to please stand when I call your name, our WISD Board of Trustees, President Rob Campbell, Vice President Lexi Jones, Secretary Andrea Justice, Board Member Chad Canine, Board Member Nathan Cross, and Board Member Ken Strange. From the city, yeah, you can go ahead. We'll do this next one for our mayors. From the city of Wimberley, Mayor Gina Fulkerson, and from Wood Creek, Mayor Jeff Rasco. We also have several distinguished guests from Hays County, including Hays County Commissioner Lon Schell, Justice of the Peace Andy Cable, Hays County Sheriff Gary Cutler, Hays County Precinct 3 Constable Don Montague, Hays County Sheriff's Honor Color Guard. Let's give them a round of applause, please. From Wimberley Fire, we have Wimberley Fire Chief Carol Sekas and Wimberley Fire Assistant Fire Chief Christopher Robbins. From our VFW, we have VFW Oldham Cummings Post 6441 Representative John Stoley and President of the Ladies Auxiliary Jennifer Bravo. Also the leader of our VFW, Huey Sandifer. Also joining us today, our WISD Assistant Superintendent, Jason Valentine, and WHS Principal, Ryan Wilkes. At this time, I invite everyone to stand as the Hays County Sheriff's Color Guard presents our national and state flags.
Please remain standing as Danforth National Junior Honor Society President Anna Kraus leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now please continue standing for the national anthem from our combined WHS and Danforth choir. Thank you, choir. That was beautifully done. Today, we have the honor of hearing from two of last year's VFW essay contest winners. This contest takes place each year, hosted by our local VFW post 6441 for students in high school and in junior high. Last year's prompt for the essay was, "Why is the veteran important?" We'll hear excerpts from both senior Ella Malone and later junior Chloe Swindell. Up first is senior Ella Malone.
It is impossible to quantify the value of our American veterans. To say they are important is a vast understatement. Without veterans, the basic rights we have as Americans, such as freedom and equality, would be merely a dream. As stated by President Ronald Reagan when addressing the nation in 1983, veterans know better than anyone else the price of freedom, for they've suffered the scars of war. We can offer them no better tribute than to protect what they have won for us. Because of their selfless sacrifice to give up the comfort of their own lives and risk everything for the lives of others, veterans are heroes. They have been and will continue to be the thread that holds America together, just as walls do a house. Without these walls, the house would collapse, and without our veterans, there would not be a United States of America. Veterans started out as ordinary Americans, fathers and mothers, sons and daughters, husbands and wives. However, each answered a call to do something extraordinary, to give all of themselves for the greater good of a nation. No matter their gender, race, or religious background, all veterans share a common thread of bravery, courage, sacrifice, and importance. As Americans, it is our duty and privilege to honor veterans and the important place they hold in our history, both today and tomorrow, to respect and value them always for the heroes they are. While the United States of America has had many great leaders who have helped shape the identity of our great nation, None has had a greater impact than our veterans as a whole. It is the collective story of these brave men and women that has allowed us to live in one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The sacrifice of our veterans, past and present, is what makes America the greatest nation on earth. As Elmer Davis once said during World War II, this nation will remain the land of the free only so long as it is the home of the brave. Never lose sight of the power, the importance of the veteran.
Thank you, Ella. That was beautiful. At this time, our Wimberley Texan Band will perform the Armed Services Medley. I invite our veterans to stand for the recognition when your branch is represented in the song. Now please join me in welcoming WHS Principal Brian Wills to recognize and honor the WHS Class of 2023 members who are currently serving in the military.
Thank you, Olivia. We gather today not only to honor the brave men and women who served in the military, but also pay special tribute to our own, the individuals from the class of 2023 who have answered the call to serve our country with unwavering dedication. It takes profound commitment and sacrifice to choose a path of service to protect the values we hold dear. Please join me in recognizing the graduates of 2023 who are now serving in the military. I'll list their names now. Gabriel Guerra, Army. Samuel Hammond, Army. Aiden Lillis, Army. Libby May, Air Force. Madeline Nagy, Air Force. Sela Jones, Marines. To the class of 2023 in uniform, we salute you. Thank you for your spirit of service, sense of duty, and selflessness.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkes. Next, please help me welcome WISD Assistant Superintendent Jason Valentine, who will recognize the WISD staff members who are veterans.
Good morning, Wimberley students, staff, parents, community, and most of all, our veterans present today for this assembly. Serving the students, parents, and staff in Wimberley ISD is a noble undertaking, and one that does not go unnoticed. Serving your country as a member of the armed services to preserve our freedom as we know it is the most noble undertaking. So please join me in celebrating the WISD staff members who have served in the armed forces. You'll do this by branch. In the United States Air Force, if they are here, I'd like for them to stand. Rick Long in technology, and Ken Strange, WISD trustee. United States Army, Nathan Cross, WISD trustee, Ashley Martinez, Danforth Junior High SRO, Danielle Ruiz, Danforth Junior High, Louis Titus, Transportation, Elizabeth Weger, Blue Hole Primary, Christopher Wilhelm, Danforth Junior High, U.S. Army. In the U.S. Navy, William Bo Bowman, Wimberley High School. And John Griffiths, Danforth Junior High. Marine Corps, Jorge Montemayor, Transportation, and Yvette Sutton, Wimberley High School. And thank you to all that have served.
Thank you, Mr. Valentine. And thank you again to all of our WISD staff members who served in the military and continue to serve in your current roles in the district. Now, we'll hear our second VFW essay excerpt, this time from Chloe Swindell.
The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated this ground far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. Abraham Lincoln said these words almost 159 years ago, yet the meaning still holds as much relevance today as it did in 1863. Veterans have stood as an essential foundation in our country for many years. The military continues to fight to defend the belief that all people deserve to have rights. Our freedoms, as outlined in the Bill of Rights, allow us to have the capability of having our own beliefs. Millions of people in other countries don't get the option to choose what they think or have the freedom of speech. The veteran is important due to the sacrifices they have made so that citizens can live without having to be in constant fear of attack and because they've given promise to a future for millions of children. Veterans make sacrifices for all of the nation's citizens, but one of the most important groups they protect are children. The children in America, for the most part, don't have to worry about their houses being blown up every day from war. car. They don't have to hear the noise of military gunshots and bombs going outside their window as they go to sleep at night. The veterans are an important aspect in America because they have protected the values that have defined the nation for hundreds of years, as well as the citizens. The children of America have the continuous opportunity to thrive in a physically safe environment due to the brave efforts made by the United States military.
Thank you, Chloe. I can see why both essays were winners. Great job. Now, I'm honored to introduce the main speaker of today's ceremony, Mr. Huey Sandifer. Mr. Sandifer spent his early life in Louisiana and California before moving to Texas in 1971. He joined the Navy after graduating high school in 1974. He served on a submarine crew as an inertial navigation technician. During the Cold War, he was under the North Atlantic Ocean taking deterrent patrols, keeping a watchful eye on the Soviet Union. Following his time in the Navy, Mr. Sandifer worked in the computer industry and graduated with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from the University of Houston in 1988. Stints in the commercial construction industry and oil field work in West Texas preceded his move to Wimberley in 2014. He joined the local VFW in 2019 and now serves as commander. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Huey Sandifer.
Thank you for that introduction. It's an honor to speak to you today. It's also an honor to see so many veterans, and from the students, from the faculty, the guests. It's incredible, the participation in the United States military that we have. I'm joined today by other members of the VFW 6441 and members of the VFW 6441 Auxiliary. Also, this includes our most recent member, Addison Slade. I have Addison stand up so you all see her. So she's a student here at Wimberley High School, and she recently joined the auxiliary. She works some bingos on Friday nights and works in the concession. My fellow VFW members and friend, Michael Lukowiak, shared an article with me just the other day written by the American Legion. In this article, they cited a survey conducted by a group called the Endeavor Analytics and a company called YouGov. So in this survey, 76% of veterans over 65 were satisfied with the phrase, "Thank you for your service," and take much pleasure in hearing it, as do I. But nearly 70% of the younger veterans are not just comfortable with hearing that and may actually feel kind of awkward. What they really want is for us to go one step further and try to connect with them, ask them about their service, where they served, what they did, what did they like about it or dislike about it. Would you recommend it to others? So a quote, direct quote from this article said that rather than simply offering our thanks, we should be looking for ways to go beyond small talk and create more meaningful connections with the veterans and better understanding for their service. Try something like this. Say, you were just introduced to a vet, and you mentioned that they were a veteran. So you reach out, shake their hand, say, "Thank you for your service," but then go on and say, "Where did you serve?" Follow that with, "What branch were you in? What was your job?" You can tell if they're interested in talking and answering, or if they are pretty quick. And just that's what's good, is to make them feel welcome. Many of us have friends and relatives that we know served in the military, but we have never really talked to them about it. Try some of these simple questions on them and see how they react. You might be surprised. Every year at the VFW Hall, we celebrate Veterans Day by offering a free lunch for veterans and their families. Mr. Michael Lukowiak has been leading this celebration at the VFW for years and has actually been doing the exact same thing that was mentioned in this article. We offer a free meal, some really good barbecue. A lot of it is cooked by David Guzman to my left here, and our cooking crew. And members of the VFW then sit and talk to them while they eat this meal, enjoy their meal with their families, and we talk about things that were mentioned in this article. Where they served, what are they doing now, what do they like? I encourage each of you to find a veteran or a family member and bring them to the VFW for lunch tomorrow, and we're looking forward to seeing you there. And students, if any of you are talking about or thinking about serving in the military or having a career in the military, I highly encourage it. It has a very important, rewarding career. That's how I paid my way through college, as a matter of fact, at the University of Houston, was with the GI Bill. So there's other benefits as well. And thank you all for being here, and to all the veterans here, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Sandifer. It's amazing to hear from someone in our own community. Thank you for your service and the work you continue to do with the VFW. Let's give Mr. Sandifer one more round of applause. Now, I invite each of you to stand for a moment of silence as we honor the veterans among us and the memory of those that no longer are. Please remain silent through the playing of taps by Junior Juan Lopez Arroyo. Thank you. You may now be seated. This concludes today's ceremony. Thank you all for your attendance today, especially our honored guests, the military veterans who are with us. Thank you also to our community leaders who joined us this morning, and to my fellow students, thank you for being a respectful audience. You may now proceed to your second period class.